Hi everybody, it's Navate. I'm coming to you guys with another video. I have shifted the focus of my Money Mondays, previously what it was called. I want to now call these videos money lessons. I've just been able to talk with a lot of people in passing, and I've just been able to have good conversations about money habits and money behaviors, and a lot of it just seems like we are, spending impulsively or just doing things because of out of habit. And so I kind of want to address those things in these videos. And so things we'll talk about are money habits that your parents taught you. We'll look at 401k. We'll look at adulting. For me, I'm 26, so it's important that I know how to be an adult with money, making more money, and what that looks like. So I'm so glad to be back. I took a break. I needed to really kind of, like I said, focus on what I really wanted. And two, for those of you that did not know, Kelvin and I are staying here in Houston, or have stayed. So we are here, and we feel great, and God has been good. So I want to just continue bringing you guys this content. I feel that God is putting on my heart to share these things with you all. So today's video is going to focus on what I learned from my parents growing up, the good and the bad, okay, about money. So some of the bad things, I'm going to start with those first, okay, was impulse spending. Oftentimes, whenever my mom and dad were never married, and so I grew up mostly with my mom. And so whenever my mom was having a bad day, or I was having a bad day, we would go shopping, or we would go and spend money. And so for me, that just taught me, okay, like if you're sad, or if you're angry, or if you just need to release some steam, you can go spend money. And whether or not you had the money, you kind of did that. And so for me, learning that, I was like, okay, now I'm like, well, I know I can't really impulse spend, because I know that that's going to eat into money that I have set aside for other things. And so the next thing that I learned from my parents was that you have to have debt, or just family in general. It was kind of like an unspoken rule. They never actually said you're always going to have debt, but you're always going to have a car, you're always going to have a place to stay. But there were never like steps associated with how to get a house, or like how to acquire a car, or just big money items, big money purchases. And so for me, like learning that, I was like, okay, well, that's just something I'm always going to have. But now that we've paid off all of our debts, it has just been an amazing journey just to see like all the different opportunities, we can now have to, continue to make more money, continue to invest, and do different things so that we can be financially stable in the future. The third thing that I learned was not having a long-term emergency fund. So both my parents, they had, basically money stashed aside if something happened, but they never really had money for like long-term layoffs. And so both my parents experienced this. Either the market dried up, or they lost their job, and, they were good for a couple months, but after that, it was kind of like, what are we going to do? And so me now learning the importance of the emergency fund, and like how it doesn't need to just be like for a month or 2 months, but it needs to be like 3 to 6 months. And so that was also something that I learned from them as well. All right. So good things that I learned from my parents growing up about money. First thing is to save for retirement. Both of my parents have a retirement, a 401k that they're constantly investing in, putting money into. That is something that my husband, both Kelvin and I, have as well. And so I think that's a good money habit for millennials, especially. Like, we think that we may be taken care of when we retire, but they just released a study that retirement, or what is it, the Social Security is gonna the funds are going to start drying up around 2030, 2034. And so like they're going to have to start planning for what they're going to do, or how they're going to, and that's going to affect us and how we pay into it. So I won't get too much into that. But investing in the stock market, both of them talked to me about their investing habits, and what things they choose to invest in. One of my parents was talking to me about how they wanted to get into marijuana stock. I know that's like a thing that we probably shouldn't talk about, but it's like there is good money there, and it's being legalized now, and so a lot of people are interested. Not saying that I will, but just different stocks out there that can potentially be a good return of investment for your portfolio. And the third thing, and the bedrock of all the things that they taught me about money, was tithing. My parents were faithful tithers. I remember specifically my mom, we were at church, and she was writing a check, or no, we were at home, and she was writing a check for her tithes. And I looked at it and I was like, Mama, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, okay? And she was like, you know, this is God's money. Like, this is not our money. He is owed 10%. And so I have continued to follow suit with that. And since I have started tithing, God has blessed our finances, and individually when I was single, and then also now as a married couple. God has definitely blessed and honored the resources that I send back to, that we give to him, and that we, you know, actually keep for ourselves. And so that has been so important for us. I think that is one of the biggest reasons why we are generous now, and that we have things we have, is because not because we're owed it, but because, you know, that is a sacrifice, a lordship that we're giving over to God and saying, here, this is yours. So those are all things that I learned from my parents. Those are things that I've taken away now as 26 years old, and now I'm rethinking the way that I think about money and my behaviors towards money. So if you guys would like to comment below about the ways that you relate with money, or the behaviors that you learn from your parents, feel free to do so. It's been a pleasure making this video, and I'll see you in the next one.